Okay, we're still graphing linear equations, and today we're going to graph them in slope-intercept form. A linear function is a function with a constant rate of change, and that's called a slope as well. And it has a straight line graph. So the slope is the slant of the line, and that's the constant rate of change. It's just how it goes. Constant rate of change is with respect to the variable of x of a linear function. Y equals f of x. The constant rate of change is the slope of its graph. The x-intercept is going to be the point where the graph crosses the x-axis, and the y-intercept is going to be the point where the line crosses the y-axis. Okay. Now, when an equation is in slope-intercept form, you don't have to do a table like I showed you how to do with that first video. That's not necessary. You can start at 3, which is on the y-axis. That's your y-intercept. All right, the slope-intercept form of the equation is when it's in this format. I jumped a little bit. Y equals mx plus b. The b part is your y-intercept. That's where it's crossing the y-axis at. The m part is the slope, or the slant of the line. So I'm going to start, my starting point is always that y-intercept, which is where it crosses the y-axis at. So at 3, on the y-axis, I put a point. Then my slope is 2 over 1. A slope is a fraction. It's the rise over the run. How far up and how far to the right or left. Now, a positive slope always goes up and right. A negative slope goes down and right. If you could just remember that, you'll be okay. Now, if you happen to get a graph that's way up at the top with the y-intercept, then you won't be able to go up and right. So what you'll do then is the opposite of up is down, and the opposite of right is left. So if you can't go up and right, you'll go down and left. The only thing you need to remember, though, and memorize is up, right, down, right. Up, right, down, right. And so if you get that, you'll be good. And then just remember, when you can't go up right, you go down left. When you can't go down and right, you go up and left. Now, that's only if it's necessary. So looking at this one, I started at 3. My slope is 2. 2 doesn't have a denominator, but it has an understood 1 underneath it. 2 over 1 is 2. So I'm going to go up. Remember what I showed you down there is positive, so I'm going to go up 2 to the right 1. So from 3, I'm going up 2 to the right 1, up 2. Again, estimate if you can't go to the right 1. Now that gives me those 3 points. The opposite of up and right is down and left. So down 2 to the left 1, down 2 to the left 1. It's going to make a line. Now you draw your line. And you didn't have to have a table. This is a quick way to graph. All right, now I have 2/3 x minus 4. I'm going to start with my y-intercept, which is -4. I'm going to put a point at -4. Then my slope is 2 over 3. It's positive, so I'm going up 2 to the right 3. Up 2 from this point, 1, 2 to the right 3, 1, 2, 3. Up 2, 1, 2 to the right 3, 1, 2, 3. And I sketch my point. So there we are. And this one happens to have an x-intercept at 6, 0. It graphed. But your slope is 2 over 3, and your y-intercept was -4. All right, same thing here. This one started out looking like that. When you have one that appears not to have a y-intercept, it does. 3/5 x plus 0 is still 3/5 x. Anything plus 0 will still be that thing. So this one is starting at 0 and then going up 3 to the right 5. Up 3 to the right 5. And notice that I can no longer go up 3 and then to the right 5 would go way over here. So since I can't do another point, that's when you go down, and the opposite of up and right is down and left. So down 3 to the left 5 for my final point. And we did one of these on my last video, y equals -2. Remember, y is always -2. You can make x anything you want it to be. You're going to get a horizontal line at 2. Truly, -1, -2, 0, -2, 1, -2, plot those points, and that's what it will be. Students get y equals a number and x equals a number confused all the time. If you will make yourself a table, you will never get it wrong. You will always get it right, because if it says y equals -2, that just means y is always -2. And make x anything you want it to be. And there you are. This has a 0 slope. Its y-intercept is at -2, and it does not have an x-intercept because it's not going to cross it. Okay, x equals 3. Again, x is always 3. Make y anything you want it to be. Come over, graph those points. It's a vertical line. That, again, that was on our other video. But that's all there is to that. All right, now, this one is not in slope-intercept form, so you have to put it in slope-intercept form. So we just move the equation around like you were taught to do when we did literal equations. We want it to be y equals mx plus b. So we're going to move the x part. We're keeping this part because we want to keep the y. So we'll move this. This is positive 2x, so to move it over, I go minus 2x. Now I have -3y equals -2x plus 6. And now I'm going to divide by -3. That's my next step. And I divide by -3 each and every part of the equation. And -2 over -3 is 2/3. And 6 over -3 is -2. And this is the equation I'm going to graph. So I'm going to start at -2 and go up 2 to the right 3. Up 2 to the right 3 and graph my line. And there we are. This one, same thing. I'm going to subtract this 2/3, move it over because I have to solve for y. Be very, very careful. The reason this is circled right here is because students forget that negative sign is there all the time. So be sure you bring it down. So when I bring this over, I have -2/3 x plus 1. Then divide through by -1. That's going to change these signs. My y-intercept starts at -1. Then I went up 2 to the right 3, up 2 to the right 3, and graph the line. Thank you.